So today, there'll be some additional comments at the end of the podcast. So wait around for those.
I will.
If you so choose. Oh, you will, sweetie?
I'll be here.
Okay, sweet. This is the Two Lights Podcast. Join me, Robert Nicolato, and my wife, Crystal Nicolato, as we explore the words and principles of the truth that illuminate the direction and the steps on the path of life. All right, well, good morning, sweetie.
Good morning.
Well, today I wanted to go over a question that we got from Ethan from San Antonio, Texas. So he asked a question about being a father. So it kind of goes like this, and I modified the question just a little bit so that it made more sense in context. I'd like to get your opinion on what your duty is as a father. What you think should be sacrificed, and what you think you should keep for yourself. Things of that nature. So, what a father's duties are, what he should sacrifice, and then what he should keep for himself.
Well, interesting to hear it like that, because it's like you would know the answer automatically.
Say it again.
I said it's interesting to hear it that plainly. Because being a Christian, you know the answer automatically. Like anything you keep for yourself, you lose.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So similar to what we talked about in our podcast where we talked about...
finding and losing your life.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, put that plainly. There are insidious ways we keep things. But to just put it straight out, like what do I keep for myself?
Right.
You can't boldly say something.
Right.
But you can backwards say it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I still keep things for myself, but I say I don't.
Oh, right.
But, I mean, being a Christian, though, it's anything you're trying to keep, you'll lose.
Well, it's funny that you should mention that, too, because I was thinking about a particular instance yesterday, in fact, where we were having a discussion, and I knew that I was being disingenuous in my communication to you.
Oh.
Well, in that... I was asking you to, you know how we'll discuss stuff, and sometimes we're not on the same page, and so it was one of those cases where
Don't even know.
Yeah, and I won't be specific.
Well, good, because I don't remember. Better not tell me.
Well, it was interesting to me. It took me half the day to understand that. You actually were going to give me freedom to do it, and I knew that it would have been wrong for me to do that. And
well, now I'm intrigued. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
Just tell me. I won't tell anybody.
I don't remember the exact. Yeah, right. I won't tell the. I can't tell the exact circumstances because I actually don't remember them.
Give me some clues.
Okay. I just remember us having a discussion. I wanted something, and you were willing to give it to me.
But what was it?
I don't remember.
What? Even you don't remember?
No. I just remember that
what?
It left behind some footprints, let's say.
I don't even remember having any conversation of intelligibleness yesterday.
Oh, it wasn't yesterday. This was like months ago.
Oh, you said yesterday.
I was thinking about it yesterday.
Oh, no wonder. I was like, oh.
Okay.
I swear I didn't have intelligent conversation yesterday.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, it's all making sense.
Okay, good. But like I was saying, I was communicating to you like, oh, yeah, this is fine.
Yes.
I knew it wasn't fine. Mm-hmm. Well.
Shady. So
I would say that that's one duty of a father is that...
Dead guy duty.
I
had to.
No.
I'm done now. I'm done.
Okay. That's from Nacho Libre, just in case our listeners don't know.
It's the bass.
It's the bass.
Okay.
Yeah, right. All right. So yeah, that would be a duty of a father. You have to listen. You have to.
Amen.
Oh, it's so true. You just have to listen, and
Sorry.
so that's a duty. Now, I could tell that that you would have let me have my own way, shall we say.
I'm so nice.
Yeah, you were actually. You're being very nice.
Well,
but
that's a
I could
shock.
actually tell that you yourself weren't comfortable with having even allowed it. But you gave me the freedom in order to do that. And
This
then...
sounds like I'm a taskmaster. I let you out of your cell for 5
No,
minutes.
no. I think...
I know, it just sounds like I gave you I gave you a piece of dry bread.
Well... Yes, oh no. Yes, massa. Yes, massa. No. It was nothing like that. It was more like a... You know how life is a negotiation. And
I'm Donald Trump.
no. Oh gosh, you keep derailing me. Shame on you.
You're fired.
Yeah, no. So I guess
I'm sorry.
we need to narrow this down.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one of our I could say a duty as a father. And that was super helpful though. But it was amazing how long it took for me to notice that I wasn't being honest.
Okay. 2 months later.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm a little slow on
It's
the
okay.
uptake.
No worries.
So, I would say that would be a duty of a father, and
Being honest.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, it
But you mean
wasn't
being-
obvious to me
yes.
that I wasn't being honest.
Yes, you're saying being honest even in small.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's almost like I was being honest to myself.
Correct.
I actually had a path to do this thing, but and this is something I want to talk about later. It's almost like there's a spirit of a lie there.
Right.
You saw it and I saw it, and it took me a while to acknowledge, oh yes, that was not the correct path.
Right.
And so that was actually a really serious thing to notice, that the truth was obvious to both of us without either one of us articulating it. And that's actually, we communicate so much that we actually communicate on that kind of a level, which is amazing.
Yeah, my eyebrows.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, I know.
Those eyebrows talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's amazing, that, we'll finish each other's thoughts half the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's possible for me that I need to communicate to you on that level. And it's not like I'm going to get away with this stuff if I try to.
I'm too smart for that.
Well, no, and I've got a conscience too.
Thought
so-
you're going to get away for it. You're like in the corner eating
No,
cookies.
it's so true. I mean, how often do we want to run away with our cookies and
I know.
eat them in the corner when no one's looking?
Just sounds
And
like
I
I'm
might
fun.
have done that a couple times.
So now
Even then.
we know what it was.
Or the ice cream in the freezer in my case.
Shady.
I know, it's terrible. So,
It's okay.
yeah, all right. You see, there you go.
Oh.
So, don't give me a path. Don't give me a path.
Bad.
Yeah, exactly. That's bad.
Don't do that again.
Okay.
But I like you anyway.
All right. So, another case where I saw this was a father duty was just before we had Joy, our first child. I remember feeling rather unprepared to be a dad, and it was freaking me out. And I remember really considering, what can I do as a father in order to save a child who doesn't understand even the first thing about life? How do I do that? How do I direct this child? Because that's actually going to be one of my duties, is I am to direct our children. And that I'm actually responsible for that. It's the world has set it up to where the mom is, the child rearer, but I think that's a failure in our society to understand that the father's duty is to the wife and the children also. So it is a collaborative effort.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that last night at Bible study.
Yeah.
With my friend, and she said her mom, because her sister has kids, and her mom always said to her, "Oh, is your husband going to babysit the kids tonight?" And the wife would always say, "No, he's parenting."
Oh, right.
Yeah. As if the dad babysits and the mom parents.
Yes. Yes.
That's such a misconception, but that's so true. The dad's the babysitter, the mother's the parent.
Right. And there's actually a phrase that I've heard from moms toward the husband or significant other, let's say, take care of your children. And I think that phrase actually comes from that as a source, that the mom feels like she is like the only parent in the house.
Well, sometimes not you, but I mean when the dad's like whining with the kids and watching football.
Right, like he's an appendage.
It may be
also.
true that he's another child, not you, but.
That's one of the duties. You're the dad.
Right, you're not.
You're the coach, and mom is more like the assistant coach.
Yeah, and putting into play what you're directing.
Right. So you don't want to have a two-headed dragon, or there was actually a snake in, I think it was Russia. It actually had two heads.
You heard about it somewhere?
Yeah. And this snake was interesting in that the heads would fight over food.
Where'd you hear about that?
They had the same stomach, but they would fight over the food.
That is freaky. Where'd you hear about that?
Keith Daniels, I think.
Whoa, strange.
And so they had the same stomach. So
so
as long as one of them was eating,
who cares which one it was?
Exactly,
right.
But they would fight over it. And so they would actually cover up one of the heads so that it could eat and not like attack itself.
Right.
Well, I think in marriage that ends up happening too, where it's like there needs to be one head.
Right.
Otherwise, if there's two heads, they end up fighting over the thing that's actually going to satisfy both.
Right, and it's energy wasted, and it's a distraction from what the goal actually is.
Right. Well, this snake had the advantage of that his other head can't walk away.
Right.
In marriage, I'm gone.
Right.
Or you're gone, and this snake goes away.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting, So I would say that's, you want to have, the father needs to have structured his relationship to where he's actually the head, the primary head. It's not like mom doesn't have a voice. She has a voice. Good heavens, you have a voice, And that was like, for me to not listen to you would not be being a leader. For me to not hear you.
Right, that's like a dictator, not a leader.
Right. And being a leader is listening. It's understanding. It's
which is
hearing.
so true, like in companies and stuff like that. Like, when they like do research and stuff, like the best leaders are the ones.
Yes.
It's relationship-based leading.
Yes.
It's not orders.
Yes. I mean, if you want it to be a protracted, enjoyable thing.
Well, and something other people can carry on, because you can't always have that kind of control. Your kids become adults.
Right. Well, and you have demonstrated a certain style of leadership to your children. And so they will propagate that also. If you're a bum, then your kids will live in that world and they will pick up those habits, and then that will propagate onto their marriages, which will also be hideous. Or
I guess what I'm thinking is, like, if your leadership style is more like dictatorial, where you're just a dictator, that only goes so long until the kids leave.
Yeah.
And then you can't exert, or they get big. You know what I mean? And you can't exert that kind of demands.
Right.
Like, you can't demand an 18-year-old to do what you say, because they can leave.
Right.
You can, but they'll leave. So it doesn't have far-reaching effects.
Yeah.
Like a relationship does.
Yeah. Yeah, and I suppose there's a lot of single fathers out there now too. That's actually more of a thing. And most of and I can't say, well, actually, I can't say that. So I would say that all these things actually apply to a single father as well. Although you don't have someone else giving you feedback like a wife,
Right.
you still have to be honest with yourself, even though you don't have the advantage. And
Right.
it is an advantage of someone else who knows you so well that they can point out faults or
Unless
weaknesses.
your marriage was never good and it was never an advantage.
This is true. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that does happen.
Because sometimes people point out your faults for condemnation, or they're not pointing them out accurately. So you yourself have to know yourself also to know if the other person's being truthful.
Right. Well, actually, but you have to know yourself from the frame of truth.
Yes, I'm saying you have to know in both directions. Like someone could be overemphasizing your
Right.
issues.
Right.
So you have to know where your own boundaries are in
Yes.
terms of where you need.
What leadership is.
Yes.
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 Okay. Yes. I see what you're saying. Okay. So going back to what, so Joy's about ready to be born. I'm freaking out. So how do I communicate to this little kiddo in a way to where because a kid can destroy themselves. And the example that came to mind in particular was like, kid is crossing the street. There is a bus coming. There's no way for me to get to kid.
Right.
What do? That child has to respond to my voice.
Right. But which
So-
what we said is actually relationship based.
Yeah.
They trust you. They respect you.
Yep.
So even when they're little and you're just doing training like to respond to no,
Yeah.
there still has to be a level of respect and trust.
Right.
Because like we were saying before, when you're not there, when you can't exert physical force,
Yeah.
is the child going to heed your word?
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, and so you used the word training. One of the duties of the father is to set up training protocol for the kids. And so that's actually where you're setting up scenarios where, you're calling them and they're coming.
Right.
You're setting up scenarios where they are obeying commands. So you've actually set up the atmosphere to
Right.
where they
in a safe environment.
Right. Where there is not a bus involved. And then after that, once you know that they understand what is expected, you have a protocol in place that both, mom and dad are agreed upon, where when there's a failure to obey, that there are consequences. And for us that was spanking and or maybe a little thump, like a little flick on the hand, just something where the kiddo understands like there's discomfort when I disobey mom and dad, because later on it'll end up being like, don't
bus.
touch fire. The kid doesn't know that is literally painful, and there can be literally, damage done that is irreparable if they pull the boiling pot of water onto their head. The word no needs to have like a freezing effect on them. Like they will stop what they're doing because you've used the word no. And so that's something that you're constantly reinforcing. You'll end up having to teach them that at home, and then you'll have to teach them that in public, and then you'll have to teach them that in other circumstances with other people, because I know our kiddos tested us in every one of those areas. Are you serious now, mom and dad? And so they would push that boundary to see if we were actually serious. And so the dad, to set up, it would be the dad duty to sit down with, mom and to come out with a plan of what that looks like and to execute that. and to help mom, because like I've come home at times and you're like, oh my gosh, the house is just, it's been one of those days where every kid is pushing your buttons, and then I'm helping you kind of reel things back in again. So what gets sacrificed for a father? A lot of stuff gets sacrificed as a father. I sacrifice my time, my recreation, my right to myself. So,
And what I've been thinking about that in terms of being a Christian is, you want to hoard your time,
yeah,
especially when you have so many kids and you see like they're going to take it all.
right.
Like, so I'm preemptively seeing that and being afraid.
Yeah.
And so I start hoarding areas of my life where it's like nobody can get into this area because it's mine. But what I think for me as a parent, God's been convicting me of is, if I give that all to him, do I not think I'll get back what I really need?
Yeah.
Do I think God's going to let me be hung high and dry?
Right.
Not that I'll necessarily get free time back, or I might. But don't I think I'm going to get a better thing back than what I'm sacrificing, even if I'm sacrificing all my time?
Right. Well, I would put this on in sacrifice, and also put it in the frame of the secular frame. So this person is a father. They don't believe in God. So why would someone who doesn't have that as a frame of reference execute any of these?
Just because they would know or understand the meaning in sacrifice.
That there's value in sacrifice.
And that the value is higher than the hoarding.
Right. Well, I think that actually goes down to the idea of love. If you love something, it's valuable to you, you will sacrifice for it.
Right.
For its benefit. And so that would be a father toward his children. Like, your kids actually want to be around you.
Right.
And so that might mean that you're not watching football. You don't have as much personal time as you once did, because you actually have a job too.
Or, like you and I have talked about before, it doesn't mean you have to give up everything, but it means you have to be super efficient with your time and not lazy.
Right.
You have to get to the point where it's like, what really matters to me?
Right.
Because you don't have to become like a no person.
Right.
Like, I don't even have an identity.
Yeah.
But if it matters to you, you'll be really efficient with what you do.
That's a very good point too, that adds on to another idea, that you have to sacrifice your value system.
Yes.
From me time to us time.
Correct.
So I've found that when I am really, really active with my kids, like I am really putting myself into it, as if like maybe I'm watching a movie that I want to watch.
Right.
As if I'm, I've got the game on.
Right, doing your favorite thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is my, like,
I'm
that kind
playing
of energy.
tag with my kids with all of me.
Yes.
I actually get the same
benefit.
Serotonin that I would have gotten by having sat down and enjoyed something else.
It's so true, but then it's kind of scary because you're like, was it my attitude the only thing keeping this from happening before?
Yeah. The answer to that is yes.
It's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. And so I'm sure this is true for moms too.
Oh, yeah. It's so true. You keep giving half effort and getting half results, and you're like, I don't have the energy to give full effort.
Right.
But it's like, but I have the full energy to, do something I want magically.
Right.
And so it's like just getting past yourself and giving that full energy.
Right.
Like you just said, you reap a benefit, even though it's something you wouldn't necessarily have wanted to do like that.
And to me, that's love, because you've shifted your value over to those kids, and not that it's the kind of love that will sacrifice for them.
And I think, like last night at Bible study, our friend was asking, like, I run during nap, and she was saying, aren't you tired during nap?
Yeah.
And I am. Some days I'm so tired sitting on the couch like I'm going to die. But you push a little bit past that to start running.
Yeah.
And then you get energy back.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because sitting there, you would have like passed out. But you actually get energy back, putting all your energy in. So it's exactly like what we talked about before, losing your life and finding it.
Yeah.
Like if you give it up, you actually receive it back even more than what you gave, which I
Yeah.
think is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Like the reward is greater than the sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, it's like that's actually what being a father is designed for.
Right.
And I know that if you don't have a Judeo-Christian ethic, there's not a design idea behind it.
Right. It's just an addition to your life already.
Right.
And if your life already is busy
Right.
or full, it's like it's an annoyance.
Right.
It's a interruption.
Right. But I think if you, whether you're a Christian or not, you are able to shift your values over to those kids, that the reward is going to be that they will be valuable to you,
Right.
and then you will value that, and the result is going to be meaning.
Right. And then it's like, yeah, it's like anything in life. Like you get what you put into something.
Yeah.
Like you take care of your car. There's always exceptions, right? There's
Yeah.
always kids who end up turning out poorly, even with good parents.
Right. They
Or
do become choosers. at some
bad
point.
parents who have good children, or you
Yeah.
take care of your car and it falls apart.
Yeah.
But in general, there are principles, like you're getting what you're putting in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm just having this picture of like, if I'm holding on to time, I'm thinking about it in terms of the Bible, but like you said, not everyone's a Christian. But if I'm trying to hoard it, it's like rotting in my hand.
Mm.
And even what I'm hoarding won't be what I want.
Yeah.
It's like God makes it not.
Yeah.
Like I've hoarded all my time, but then I hate myself.
Yeah.
Which is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
But then I know it's not right.
Yeah.
And so the free time I've hoarded becomes like evil.
Yeah.
But if I give it all up, if I tell God I won't hold anything back, I may get some back. Not that that's like my motivation, but I could. But then it's like you almost find you get the opportunity back to have free time and you don't even want to spend it like you did anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your soul has been fed. Like you actually want this as much as your kids do.
Right.
Which is what you were just saying.
Right. No, I think it's a fundamental part of us, whether you think it came from God or not. It's like a vehicle operates on gas.
Right.
You put gas on in it and it'll run.
Right.
You put anything else in it, like, water, milk,
Right.
it's not going to run a Mountain Dew or coffee.
Right.
Although you might. It's designed to operate on these things.
Right. So fight against it or
Yeah.
cooperate with it and
Right.
find.
It's like gravity. It's like, oh, I can jump off this building and there'll be no consequences.
Right.
No, actually, the universe is going to show you that you're wrong.
So true. And it's like you, even as a Christian, you want some way around it.
Yeah.
Like surely there's, option C instead of A and B, but there
Yeah.
never is.
Yeah. Yep. So break it down to those fundamentals. And so what do I keep for myself? That's a very good question.
Your time with the Lord.
Oh, yes. I'm ruthless about that.
So, that's one thing that
Yeah.
you and I both are like, our marriage,
Yeah.
that's another thing
Yeah.
that we're like, not going to, let our kids really sleep in our room,
Yeah.
or not going to not have spend time together
Yeah.
alone, or not going to read our Bibles because our kids are. So we definitely have boundaries in terms of our own relationship and our relationship with God.
Right.
But we exercise
Yeah.
is another thing.
Yeah.
Other than those two things, you and I both don't really. We have random hobbies,
Yeah.
random things we would occasionally get to.
Yeah. Oh, coffee.
Oh yeah.
Both of us have had a cup of coffee this morning, and that's actually
Liquid courage.
it's like yeah, it's like life in the bottom of a cup. So that's something that we enjoy together also, and yeah, I mean I guess I do have a few things that I do where I carve out a little bit of time, but like I make bread. I love making bread.
Yes.
So I make
I knit.
sourdough bread.
Yep. You make bread.
knit.
I knit. But even
I
those
can,
things are almost,
yeah,
they're not separate
yeah.
like that.
Well, they were, all the girls were watching the mixer
Right.
mix the bread in,
And
and
I'm going to
whenever I'm
teach them how
making
to
them,
knit.
yeah,
It's not like you're going off.
Yeah.
Or I'm going, not that that's bad.
yeah,
But I remember, I think I told you that my friend's husband, said to me last year, like, you don't know how good you have it with your husband. And he said, I've never admired someone more in my own age bracket than you,
oh, okay,
because he was like, do you know how many husbands go out at night and are busy? And he was like, my all-time favorite is the men's Bible study. He's like, that's great. Like, got to go out for your men's Bible study. And he's like, and there's no help. And he was like, he helps so much. You have no idea.
yeah,
Don't take it for granted.
yeah,
And
yeah. I do dishes. I change diapers.
I was so impacted by that because I'm not ungrateful at all, but I'm so used to it because it's always been like that. In my mind, I'm assuming it's almost expected, not in like I'm trying to be nasty, but just like it's normal.
Right.
Like, this is what normal life is. We're helpful to each other.
Right.
And so this must be what other people do.
Well,
And
that's the
like,
thing about normal is you don't see it anymore.
yes. And so him
Yeah.
telling me like this is so abnormal, it's not even funny, and I've never seen this, and you have no idea,
Yeah.
was super impactful to me. Of like, oh, like this is a gift. It's not normal, and it doesn't always happen for most people. And like, I need to be grateful, and that needs to overshadow anything I think is hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About you or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess having some little pet projects that you have, but those things still are not the same things that I did when I was single.
Right.
I actually found different things, and those things were actually in reference to us as a couple too.
Yeah, I was thinking about that yesterday because my
Well, we've like become one
Yes.
person, which
my
is amazing.
grandma was like, I never remember you liking old stuff. Because I was looking around our house yesterday and thinking, my favorite things in life are old. I don't like anything modern. Not modern music, not modern clothes, not modern architecture, not modern furniture. I like everything old, all of it.
Yeah.
And she was saying, I never remember you being like this.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I never was like that. But it's such a part of my life now. I feel like those people who were like, when I was 5, like I always had this.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how is this never a part of my life? Because now it's like my soul.
Yeah.
And it's true. We've both changed into something different.
Yeah.
Together.
And
Yeah.
that's, and I mean, so our friendship has become, just ridiculous. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's like I was saying earlier, it's like we finish each other's sentences. Like I'll be humming something in one end of the house, and the next thing you know, you're singing it.
Even Teeny.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Would you sing Uptown Girl?
Yeah, that's so funny. So yeah, I think that a father's duty is pretty straightforward.
And I guess what we were just saying too is it's not defined.
Yeah.
Like some people are, and this happens a lot, even in Christian homes. A father does this and mother does this.
Yeah.
And the crossover does not happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we know a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Even well-meaning good fathers and mothers.
Yeah.
Where there's no crossover. The
Yeah.
dad's not changing diapers.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
He'll be present in his fatherly duties, but they will not extend beyond what?
I'm not going to say that that's bad necessarily.
Oh, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's less relationship based.
Well,
It's difficult. It's difficult for the wife, I guess. What I'm saying is, let me back up. Let me think about this. Like, so we had friends when we first had Joy. They came from a large family. And I remember the son saying he learned so much from watching you be a dad to Joy. Because even his dad, incredible, didn't do what you do. And he learned a lot. And it's because you change diapers and make bottles,
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, wow, for someone coming from a kind of family like that you can only dream of, still being impacted by what you're doing, because what you're doing is different.
Yeah.
That says something,
Right. Well, that was his normal, though. And so you
right,
don't
I'm just
see
saying
normal.
I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
that in our house, one part of being a father, basically to answer this question, there's nothing you won't do.
Yeah.
So in terms of like, what do you keep for yourself?
Yeah.
The answer would really be nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like,
That's my leadership style for sure.
yes, where it's like, where there's a need, that's what I do.
Yeah.
But I think we're both sort of like that. It's
Yeah.
not like my roles are this and your roles are this.
Yeah.
Although obviously you work and I stay home. So
Yeah.
like we do have defined roles
Yeah.
in a large sense.
Yeah.
But on like a micro level, our family is just like, you do whatever you do.
Very homogenous. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all mixed together.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I think that helps our relationship be connected because there's never areas that we're not a part of in each other's life.
Right. Well, I think that ends up being so real that
And I think people have a lot of respect for that, even though most people don't do it that way.
yeah. Yeah. It works, and that's what we've negotiated, and I think that's where what the difference would be between maybe some other marriage where there are more defined roles. Well, they've negotiated that out, and that works because
But
if
it's
you
not
wanna,
always.
what if it's a fight though? No, I'm not going to change your diaper. Blah 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 blah. You know, you could set up
Yes, no, what I'm saying
battle
is,
lines.
right, it
along
does
these
work.
things. Yeah.
But what I've noticed but part of the intimacy goes with it almost.
I think that's correct. Yeah.
You know, and like you said, it works. Like it's able to continue, and it works, and it's like
Yeah.
that's what God has.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but I'm just thankful for you, and I probably owe this entirely to you that you condescend to whatever it is.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
that it's just like
Yeah. I got part of that from my dad.
right.
And I think he did that in a way that was impactful to me also.
Right.
And I've improved on how he did it.
Right, because I feel like in all the essential ways,
Yeah.
you're very defined.
Yeah.
But in all the non-essential ways,
Yeah.
you're willing to give.
Yeah.
And in the non-essential ways, those are essential for most people. Like, I'm not going to change a diaper. You know, that's still essential to them.
Yeah.
But to you and I, it's like that's non-essential.
Yeah.
Like, there are essential things, like I'm going to stay home and homeschool the kids.
Yeah.
There are non-essential things, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to change a diaper, and I'm going to, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would like to do manly jobs. I just don't know how to use tools or something.
Right.
But I would try.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's no, like, defined.
Yeah.
Except I don't like to take the garbage out. I'm worse than you.
Oh, I know. Yeah, there'll be a big pile of garbage at the back door.
Okay, conviction. Hang it. Yeah, we're talking about, like, there's no job I won't do. And I'm like, there. But anywho, this is a father's podcast, so back to the
Yes, yeah, we're picking on dads right
mothers next time. But
now. Okay. No, I think that's all right. And it really works really well for us. And I think part of the big element to that is that we hear each other, and we let the pain of disagreement change us, rather than drawing these battle lines that are unmovable to where we start lobbing bombs at each other.
that must be our personalities, though. I hate conflict.
Well, yeah.
I'd rather die.
Well, to me, conflict is so felt.
Right, and it's like against yourself.
Right.
Because we're one person.
Yeah.
It's like the universe is not right if we're not okay.
Right. Right.
It's like not breathing air.
So I have to hear what you're saying. You have to hear what I'm saying.
Because my life depends on it.
Right. Right. Or the relationship depends on it, which is our life. Really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, I think that's a good place to end.
You're a rockin' dad.
Well, praise the Lord for that. And, where do I get all that? I've seen it in other men, but those men, for the most part, were executing what they see in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a passage in Ephesians that says this verbatim, that like Christ sacrificed himself for the church, a husband is to sacrifice himself for his wife. And and for his family, but really mostly for his wife. So being a good father is being a sacrificed man to the wife.
Right.
And
Which I think is what I was saying, like, when a wife feels that, then she's doing an ideal job.
yeah,
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But that comes from relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because if you're sacrificing for someone in a way that's good for you, it might not be a sacrifice for them.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
But like you changing a diaper, that's a sacrifice for me.
yeah,
I mean, and for you for sure. But you see what I'm saying. If you were like, I'm going to sacrifice for you by changing the air in your tire, like that's good. But what I mean is the sacrifice is a sacrifice when the other person understands it as such,
oh, right.
if that makes sense.
Oh,
Like I'm going to sacrifice for you by eating a hamburger instead of pizza or something. I don't know. Like the sacrifice is like what's understood by the person sometimes too.
well, I think,
You know what I mean? Like there are things that are easy for me that I can say are a sacrifice for you.
okay,
But then there are things that are really a sacrifice.
where you're giving up part of yourself.
Yeah, I'm actually sacrificing
Okay.
now. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
can sacrifice, quote unquote, or I can sacrifice.
Right.
You know, like I can be like, look, I made you dinner, it's so great. Or I can take the trash out. Like
Right.
now we're talking like the big guns.
Right.
Now I'm like, oh,
And that's what that verse is saying. To give up your life.
right. And
That's
so
the value of my life.
yes.
It's kind of up
and
there.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I made you dinner. It's like, well, I need to make everyone dinner, and I'm eating the dinner too.
Right.
So like, yeah, I'm feeding myself, and like, oh, I thought not that that's not a sacrifice.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying.
Right.
But then there's like sacrifice of like I took the trash out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, whoa. Now we're talking sacrificial love.
Right.
And I'm gonna need to do that today since I'm so convicted.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll close with that then. If you have a question for us or a suggestion, you can contact us by email or various social media link platforms via links in our show notes. Some questions might find their way into a Two Lights podcast episode. So send your question to be read on air or record your question in MP3 format. State your name, your city, and your state. Try to keep your question under 30 seconds. You have been listening to the Two Lights Podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating. If you did not enjoy this podcast, feel free not to give us any rating at all. We would like to keep our rating up at 5 if we can. Tell your friends and don't forget to subscribe. And from the Nicolato house to yours, we thank you.